Another one.
Should I get a job I think I will like, but take a $20,000 salary pay cut?
Uh?
Little bit more on myself. I am 24 and I currently work for a medical device company as an automation maintenance facility technician. I don't mind the job, but I'm not too sure if this field is the field I want to stay in for the rest of my life. The commute is about 35 minutes. Coworkers are all right, and there is some growth in the field depending on if I get my associates or bachelor's. I feel like I got really lucky with this job and I don't want to take it for granted. So that's why I'm thinking about it pretty hard. I always like technology, IT, and computer stuff. I wouldn't mind changing careers, but the thing, my current job isn't bad, but I don't like it. It's paying me $68,000 right now, and if I change careers, I would most likely take a $20,000 or maybe even $30,000 pay cut. My question stays the same. Should I change careers and try going into IT? I'm still young, I know, but I do have goals I want to reach in life like any other person. Am I just overthinking things and I should just stick it out with my job and see if it's really something I want to do for the rest of my life or switch? That is an amazing question. That's an amazing question. So, let's start our clock. So, when I had just read the title of this article or of this question, not article, but of this question, I was like, you like stay in tech, keep your 20. But like I normally don't read the whole thing. I get an idea of the question and I just okay, this is the question we're gonna go with. But but here's the thing. Here's the thing. You have to and this is the part of planning and analyzing that I'm talking about. What field do you want to transition to in tech? It's a very important part because although so if you're making 68K and you take a 20 to $30,000 pay cut at 24, what is your runway though? Because sometimes you might have to go down a little bit to go up. But if the most that you might make is let's throw out a number. Let's say the most you might make is 80K in this position that you don't like. But if you restart at 24 in the tech industry, and let's say you do, I don't know, I don't even know the position, but let's say whatever position in tech. Let's say you start at like 40, 45K, right? And you can, but what's your runway? Because if like one of the things I always tell people is because they say, "Oh, I want to get into QA, I want to get into software development, yada yada yada." I'm like, okay, you just need to get your foot in the door and then go from there. So if you want to do QA, like, okay, how like, but you don't have any QA experience, you might have taken a boot camp and stuff like that, but you don't have the necessary experience. So the question is, all right, how can you gain that experience? Maybe, just maybe, you might have to take a help desk role or a tech support role where you'll be getting paid not the best salary. You're not gonna get paid. You might get an hourly job answering phone calls, helping people on the phone. And that's how I got started in tech, right? I've always been very technical. I've always been like I remember I switched my first video card out of a computer around like 10 years old because I wanted to play NBA Live on this old computer that I had. And and that's the thing, like, but you need to get your foot in the door. And then once you get your foot in the door, then I'm like, all right, now who can you network with within the company to get to where you want to be? And being that you have that experience, like you have some experience in tech now, it's going to be easier for you to transition to different roles. You know, and and one thing I always say is why, especially why at 24 do you have to quit? in order to do something else. Like Darcel was saying, Darcel works Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. Pluto talked about the hours that he used to work. We see Operation Tech Takeover driving to work at 7 a.m. in the morning, and it was 8 p.m. at night, and he was still at work. So at 24, and like all of us are a lot older, and we're working, we're not complaining. So at 24, you can continue like working your current job and then start learning about tech, and then start getting in the tech field and take both incomes for now. And as your tech income starts to increase, or you get a better offer, where like let's say you have to work 12-hour shifts, right? Or 4 10-hour shifts, overnight or something like that. What we could figure that out, or part-time, whatever the case may be. But you work that, and as you start to get more experience, you start to grow in there, then you can start to wean off the other, right? And that way, instead of taking a $20,000 pay cut, you might be making a $40,000 to $50,000 pay increase. And then you're going to want to keep them both, because now your life is going to become dependent on it. You know? So it's, I think we need to get the right strategy, because I'll tell my tech barbarians, like, hey, don't quit your job until you have another one. You know, like, you still have to study, you still have to put in the work. And now, and sometimes like when we're trying to transition into tech, and we think we're going to get like that boot camp salary that they tell us, and it's like, oh, well, I remember someone that I'm actually very proud of, but they used to be a teacher, and they had told me that the job offer that they got for QA was less than they were making for a teacher. And I thought, though, I'm like, well, when you first become a teacher, I'm pretty sure what you're making now is not what you were making at the time. So for you to start off with a little bit less than you were making as a teacher, as an entry level QA, which barely exists, that's not that bad of a deal. But if it can't sustain your lifestyle, then now that's a problem. But an option for this person in particular would have been, if you were to take, which everything worked out for them perfectly in the end. But let's say I was a person who used to be a teacher, and I wanted to go into a tech field, and I get offered a position where I'm getting paid less than I was at my previous, in my previous career. Well, now the question is, because if I do want to transition, how can I use what I was doing in the past in order to continue making some income while I go into my new adventures? So could that be, all right, so I take this job that I was making less than when I was a teacher, and can I offer like some tutoring to children where I can work with them, or tutoring to adults, who knows, whatever the case may be. But can I offer some tutoring where I can still make up some income while I pursue the new career path that I want? So my thing is, it's strategize, right? It is never one or the other. Like, remember,
Message.
It is never one or the other. It's an and. What can I do? Can I do this and this? Can I pair these things here and maneuver? Can I mold it into what I need it to be? That's how I see it. That is how I see it. But with that, let's wrap that question up for tonight.
If you enjoyed the fascinating information shared in this video and you want more, be sure to hit the subscribe button to Tech Coach Ralph to be notified for new videos.